Hello everyone, and welcome back to Aetherfall. Today, we're going to continue talking about factions that you can find within the game. First, there is the New Republic or Kingdom of Aldera. This is a faction that the player can create during their playthrough. Whether it is known as a Republic or Kingdom depends on the choices that you make in establishing the alliance between towns. It starts by becoming the leader of a single location. And unlike the Minutemen of Fallout 4, you're not going to be expected to build every town from the ground up. The Alliance builds by convincing towns to join them using reputation and speech. Eventually, you can become the king or consul of the coalition. This unification will also follow whichever ways of thinkings, the core 7 values mentioned in another video. This alliance can either start in the north or south to build, but will struggle to unite both halves together as they have very little interactions. If you can provide proof of the construct invasion, or the invasion has already happened, it'll be much easier to unite both sides to fight against the enemy. Next, we have the two factions of mercenaries pitted against each other for control of contracts in Aldera. There is the S4 Company. S4 stands for Sell Swords and Spell Swords, indicating the group's proficiency with both weapons and magic. The group seek to be an honorable and might-driven faction, and opt for heavier armor, weaponry, and powerful spells. Now, here's the kicker. While the S4 Company roams around, there's also S5 Company, a faction of mercenaries that seek to be even more honorable and even more might-driven than the S4 Company. The group split from the original S4's faction when the co-leaders and twin brothers, Romiet and Ladaj, began to disagree on the direction for the company. The two brothers were split on whether to take every request brought to them, or whether to be selective with their help. Romiet argued that the company should take every job they can so S4 could grow in name recognition and help the people of Aldera. However, Ladaj argued that if S4 were to take on this practice, they would struggle to afford elite mercenaries necessary for more dangerous jobs, and would be stuck with busy work. The arguments quickly devolved from civil, sides were formed, names were called, mothers were insulted. Eventually, Ladaj kicked his 2-minute younger brother out of the S4 Company, or as Romiat would put it, he chose to leave and start his own group. Several mercenaries followed Romiat and formed S5 Company. The two directly compete with each other for many high-end jobs, while S5 also tries to help with smaller tasks around the northern region. The two factions always look to one-up each other, and throughout the game this competition eventually can lead to disaster, as the two begin to sabotage each other's jobs to make the other faction seem incompetent. The player can decide the fate of the two factions, whether the brothers bury the hatchet and the groups work together, forming S9 Company, whether one of the groups are dismantled or destroyed, or if both are dismantled/destroyed. Both S4 and S5 subscribe to the Way of Might, though not to a fanatic degree. The Hickories. This faction is a bit loose, as it's a family of locals living in the backwater swamps of South Aldera before the war. After the war, the families have grown and spread across the southern swamps to hold a large territory within the region. They are a very resourceful group, and their homes and attire are cobbled together out of many different items. The Hickories are a relatively peaceful faction, though they have mistrust towards outsiders. You can join them by stealing a piece of Nomanian or Sultai's tech, whom the Hickories distrust greatly. The player is forbidden from having a romantic relationship with any member of the Hickories, as the group wishes to keep the bloodlines pure. Seducing a member of the Hickories and being discovered will lead to both the seduced party and the player being banished from the Hickories. This group subscribes to many different ways of thinking and are not cohesive in their beliefs. The Ungwai Hunter Guild. With the increasing threat of these terrifying large beasts known as Ungwai, this faction is expanding very quickly. Many people across Aldera affiliate with the guild, especially south of the crater, where Ungwai are more prevalent. The guild is made up of groups of hunters as well as individuals. It recognizes the threat that Ungwai pose to unguarded towns. It shares its resources and tips on how to best take down the beast. Many hunters die in the profession, and very few have ever actually successfully killed even a single Ungwai. One of the few successful hunters is a legendary man who goes by the name of Amingway, who has successfully been able to kill at least 3 of the beasts. Speaking to Amingway, we'll start the quest, Song of the Kuai. When asking to join, some guild members will be happy to have a new member, though they'll warn about the danger of the job. Some members will have an elite smugness to them and are unwilling to let the player join unless they have a high level of power, which means high level of gear. Some refuse to let you join at all. Then there are the Sultai Pirates of the southern coast, who, by the way, got their name from the salty eyes that sailors would get on the seas. They're a faction that you'll get to know very well through the main quest. As pirates, they're seen as a morally bad faction, one that plunders the coastline at the cost of paying the Nomanians. They seek freedom from an arrangement with the Nomanians by acquiring an airship. This faction is led by Captain Xingqi and the followers of might, instinct, and a little bit of insanity. That'll do it for today's episode. Thanks so much for everyone for watching. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Until then, this has been Brian. Bye for now.